Welcome to the Explainer. You know, what if I told you there's a microscopic assassin that could wipe out your entire honeybee hive from the inside out? Well, today we're going to unmask the Acarine mite and give you the tools you need to fight back. Okay, let's just dive right in. Look at this. On the left, you've got a healthy bee, just a little master of the sky doing its thing. But on the right, that's the tragic result of an Acarine mite infestation. That bee is grounded, its wings totally useless. This, right here, is what we're up against.
So, what exactly is this invisible enemy, and how in the world does it cause so much damage? Let's get a closer look. Imagine a parasite so tiny you can't even see it, but it has the power to suffocate a bee from the inside. That's the Acarine mite. It's an internal invader that gets right into the bee's breathing tubes and pretty much turns them into a death trap.
And this is exactly how they do it. It's a pretty sinister strategy, really. They breed and they multiply inside the bee's airways, creating this blockage that cuts off oxygen, and, just as devastatingly, it destroys the bee's ability to fly. All right, so knowing just how bad these things are, the big question is, how do you spot an infestation before it's way too late? Well, the good news is there are some pretty clear warning signs to keep an eye out for. You know, the evidence is often right there at the hive's front door. You want to look for bees just crawling around helplessly on the ground, maybe a growing pile of dead bees, and this is the really disturbing part, bees with wings that are just mangled and useless. And this right here, this is the most telltale sign of an Acarine mite problem. It's called the K-wing. See how the wings are separated? They form this kind of K shape. If you see this in your hive, it's a huge red flag that Acarine mites are probably at work. Okay, now that we know what we're looking for, it's time to fight back. And the best part is, you don't always need some crazy expensive chemical. A simple, homemade, oily paste can be an amazing first line of defense. The recipe couldn't be simpler. It all comes down to a 3-to-1 ratio. That's 3 parts powdered sugar to 1 part cooking oil. Getting this ratio right is what creates a paste with the perfect consistency for the bees. Making this stuff is, well, it's about as easy as making cookie dough. You just mix the sugar and oil, knead it until it's a firm dough that isn't too sticky, and then pop it in a plastic bag on top of the hive frames. The bees will be drawn to the sugar, and they'll basically start treating themselves. So how does this actually work? Well, the genius here is in its simplicity. As the bees eat that sugary paste, a super thin layer of oil coats their bodies. This oily barrier makes it pretty much impossible for the mites to get a grip and invade the bees' breathing tubes. It effectively breaks the whole infestation cycle. All right, next up, we've got a totally different approach, a more aromatic one. We're talking about menthol crystals. This stuff is a powerful compound that comes from mint, and it's another really effective way to deal with Acarine mites. But first, a really quick and crucial safety note. Always, always wear gloves when you're handling menthol. This is some concentrated stuff, and, protecting yourself is just as important as protecting your bees. The application itself, it's a breeze. You just put the menthol crystals into a little breathable bag, like a sachet, and place it on top of the hive frames. As the crystals evaporate, that powerful vapor fills the hive, creating an environment that the mites just can't stand. And this one treatment will keep working for about 3 weeks. So while the oily paste and the menthol crystals are fantastic options, they're definitely not the only tools in your arsenal. Let's explore a few other methods you can use to control Acarine mites. This table gives you a great little side-by-side comparison. A mix of essential oils and Vaseline gives you a kind of 2-for-1 punch, hitting both acimetharine and the dreaded varroa mites. Wormwood powder works as a natural repellent, and then you've got formic acid, a really powerful, fast-acting solution, but there's a big catch. You can only use it in low temperatures or you risk harming the bees. So really, when you boil it all down, the key takeaway is that protecting your bees is an ongoing commitment. It's all about regular monitoring for those early warning signs we talked about, and then consistent proactive treatment. That's what's essential for keeping your hives healthy and thriving. So there you have it, a complete guide to taking on the Acarine mite. Ultimately, the health of your hive is in your hands. So the question is, which weapon will you choose to protect your bees and keep that amazing buzz alive?